Have you ever heard something that felt different from ordinary sound? Not a voice, exactly. More like a whisper of awareness. A phrase that appears in your mind. Perfectly timed. Or a tone, a ringing, a subtle vibration that arrives in quiet moments. Maybe it happens when you're alone. The room is silent, but your awareness suddenly feels attentive, as if something inside you is listening more deeply than before. Experiences like this can feel strange at first, but across spiritual traditions, many people describe similar shifts during periods of inner awakening. Moments when perception expands beyond ordinary senses, often connected to what is symbolically called Kundalini Awakening, not an external force. More like dormant awareness, slowly rising through consciousness. And when awareness expands, perception sometimes begins to change. One of the first experiences many describe as heightened sensitivity to sound. Everyday noises feel sharper, music feels deeper. Even silence begins to feel full, rather than empty. Psychologically, this can represent increased attention. Energetically, some traditions interpret it as awareness becoming more receptive to subtle signals. Another experience people mention is hearing thoughts that feel wiser than their usual thinking. A sentence appears suddenly in the mind. Clear, precise, often comforting. Many interpret this not as an external voice, but as inner guidance becoming easier to hear. Then there are moments of inner dialogue that feels strangely calm. Not the usual anxious chatter, but quiet guidance, almost like awareness itself is speaking through the mind. Symbolically, this is often described as the early stages of clairaudience, clear hearing. Not necessarily hearing physical voices, but perceiving insights through the language of sound within consciousness. Another common experience is noticing patterns in words people speak. Certain phrases stand out. Messages seem to appear through ordinary conversation. Emotionally, this can feel like reality itself is communicating through symbols, like a hidden conversation happening beneath everyday life. Then there are periods of ringing or subtle tones in the ears. Many people notice these during deep introspection or meditation. Psychologically, this may simply be heightened awareness of internal sensations. Energetically, some traditions interpret it as the nervous system adjusting to expanded perception. And finally, a quiet realization begins to emerge. That wisdom doesn't always arrive through logic. Sometimes it arrives through listening. Not just listening to sound, but listening to silence, listening to intuition, listening to the deeper voice beneath the noise of thought. This is why many traditions describe awakening as learning to hear again. Not the outside world, but the inner current of awareness guiding your path. Because the mind we normally use is loud, but deeper wisdom is almost always quiet. Clairaudience symbolically represents the moment when the mind becomes still enough to hear what was always speaking beneath it. So if you've noticed subtle sounds, quiet insights appearing like whispers, or moments when silence feels strangely alive, you may simply be witnessing your awareness learning a new way to listen. Not imagination, not confusion, awakening. And if this message resonated with something you've experienced, share in the comments. And if you're exploring the deeper layers of intuition and perception, subscribe and continue this journey with us. Because sometimes, awakening begins when we finally become quiet enough to hear.